Two legends, gone within 48 hours. Ozzy Osbourne, Hulk Hogan. One ruled the stage, the other ruled the ring. Now both are gone, and fans are asking, is there more to come? This isn't just about how they died, it's about what their loss means now. Nobody saw it coming. On a quiet summer morning in Clearwater Beach, Florida, emergency services responded to a 911 call that would rock the world of sports and entertainment. At 9:51 a.m., legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Gene Bollea, was found unresponsive in his home. Moments later, he was pronounced dead at Morton Plant Hospital. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. And just like that, an icon who once felt larger than life was gone. Fans, wrestlers, and celebrities flooded social media with disbelief. News anchors who had grown up idolizing him could barely keep their composure. For many, Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a living symbol of power, charisma, and Americana. But as tributes poured in, one question echoed louder than the rest. What really happened in those final days? In the weeks leading up to his death, something strange was unfolding behind the scenes. Close friends gave wildly conflicting updates about Hogan's health. Wrestling legend Jimmy Hart, Hogan's longtime manager and confidant, had just posted a cheerful message claiming Hulk was doing phenomenal, even singing karaoke just days earlier. That post was swiftly deleted after the news broke. Meanwhile, podcast host Bubba the Love Sponge said Hogan had been struggling behind the scenes, barely mobile, possibly bedridden. And Hogan's own wife Sky tried to set the record straight, insisting he was doing just fine. But was she downplaying the truth? The contradiction between glowing updates and sudden death felt almost too bizarre. Was it just a heart attack out of nowhere, or had something been hidden? Some fans speculated it might have been stress from Hogan's recent ventures, while others blamed years of wear and tear on his body. After all, this was a man who had endured countless surgeries, including spinal fusion and artificial joint replacements. But even so, no one expected this. And yet, as unexpected as it was, it didn't erase the impact he left behind.
To understand the weight of this loss, you have to go back to where it all started.
Before he became the face of professional wrestling, Terry Bollea was just a Florida boy with a bass guitar and big dreams. But everything changed when he stepped into the ring. The transformation into Hulk Hogan wasn't just a rebrand, it was a cultural shift. With his signature yellow bandana, 24-inch pythons, and roaring charisma, Hogan didn't just win matches, he created moments. Moments like slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in front of 93,000 fans, moments like his entrance music, Real American, blaring through arenas while fans lost their minds. He turned professional wrestling from a niche sport into a global spectacle. Kids everywhere were tearing their shirts, flexing in the mirror, and yelling, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" He wasn't just an athlete, he was the guy who took WWE mainstream. Action figures, Saturday morning cartoons, movie cameos, it was all Hogan. But the higher you rise, the harder you fall. For decades, Hogan had been untouchable. But that illusion shattered in 2015 when a private recording leaked to the public, exposing a disturbing, racially charged rant that made headlines worldwide. The fallout was immediate. WWE severed ties. He was scrubbed from their Hall of Fame, sponsors vanished overnight. In the eyes of many, the once unstoppable Hulkster had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. But Hogan wasn't done fighting. That same year, he sued the media outlet Gawker for releasing a hidden sex tape without his consent. What most people didn't realize at the time was that the lawsuit was secretly bankrolled by billionaire tech mogul Peter Thiel, who had his own vendetta against the company. The result? A $140 million court victory. Hogan was back in the headlines, not as a hero, but as a warning. His return to WWE in 2018 was controversial. He was reinstated quietly with whispers of forgiveness and redemption, but never without a shadow hanging over him. Some fans embraced him again, others never forgot. It was a comeback, yes, but it wasn't the same. And just when people thought his story had calmed down, another twist was coming. Just days before the wrestling world mourned the loss of Hulk Hogan, another devastating blow had already shaken the world. Ozzy Osbourne, the godfather of heavy metal, passed away at the age of 76 on July 22nd, 2025. It was the kind of news that stopped fans in their tracks. Ozzy had been battling Parkinson's disease since 2020, and after years of health complications, his body had finally given in. he died peacefully in his home in Buckinghamshire, surrounded by family. But for millions around the world, it felt anything but peaceful. Ozzy wasn't just a musician, he was a force, chaotic, raw, rebellious, the voice of a generation that refused to be tamed. Whether it was his early days in Black Sabbath, his wild solo career, or even his unexpected reality TV fame, Ozzy had spent 5 decades pushing boundaries and reinventing what it meant to be a rock star. And heartbreakingly, his final performance came just 17 days before his death on July 5th at a surprise farewell appearance during Black Sabbath's last concert in Birmingham. Fragile, seated on a black throne, he sang through tears. It was both haunting and beautiful. Fans didn't know it at the time, but they were witnessing the end of an era. So when Hulk Hogan died just 2 days later, it wasn't just another tragedy. It felt like the world was collapsing in slow motion.
The world didn't even have time to grieve Ozzy properly before it was hit again. On July 24th, 2025, the death of Hulk Hogan, just 48 hours after Ozzy's, felt unreal. Not since the passing of Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett on the same day had 2 cultural giants been lost so close together. Hogan and Osbourne came from completely different worlds, wrestling and music, but they shared something rare, mythic status. Both dominated the spotlight in the 80s, both created larger-than-life personas, and both outlived countless controversies and reinventions. For many fans, this was more than just celebrity news. It was personal. These weren't just public figures, they were constants, the kind of legends you grew up with, the kind you assumed would always be around, until they weren't. On social media, grief poured in like a tidal wave. Elton John wrote a tearful tribute to Ozzy. Metallica called him the reason we picked up guitars. Wrestling legends wept on live TV over Hogan. And fans around the world struggled with the same thought. How do you say goodbye to 2 giants at once? It didn't matter if you were more Ozzy than Hogan or more Hogan than Ozzy. Losing both felt like a double punch to the chest. A generation raised on electric guitars and body slams suddenly felt a little older, a little emptier, and a lot more mortal.
For longtime fans of music, film, and culture, the pain of this week feels eerily familiar, because nearly a decade ago, the world experienced another devastating cascade of celebrity deaths, the tragic year of 2016. It started with David Bowie, who died just days after releasing his final haunting album, Black Star. Then came Alan Rickman, whose quiet strength in Harry Potter and Die Hard had made him one of the most beloved actors of his time. And that was just January. Over the months that followed, the world lost Prince, a revolutionary artist who redefined music and identity. Muhammad Ali, not just a boxing legend, but a global symbol of resilience and resistance. Lemmy Kilmister, the hard-living frontman of Motorhead. George Michael, Leonard Cohen, Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds, and so many others. It felt relentless. As if icons weren't dying, they were being taken. Fans began to call 2016 the year the legends died. And now, in 2025, that fear is starting to creep back in. First, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself, whose influence bled into generations of musicians. Then, Hulk Hogan, a man who turned wrestling into theater, who made children believe in superheroes. 2 titans gone in 2 days, and with the year only halfway over, people are starting to ask the question no one wants to speak out loud. Is 2025 becoming another 2016? It's a chilling thought. Not just because of who we've lost, but because of who we might still lose. The fear is real, and it's raw. But maybe there's another way to look at it. Maybe 2025 isn't cursed. Maybe it's a reminder of how deeply these figures shaped us. A reminder not to wait until someone is gone to say what they meant. And maybe, just maybe, a reminder to hold on tighter to the artists, heroes, and storytellers we still have, because time doesn't wait.
Losing Hulk Hogan and Ozzy Osbourne in the same week is more than just a coincidence, it's a cultural wound. 2 icons from entirely different worlds, both loud, both larger than life, both suddenly gone. It's impossible not to think of 2016, the year the world felt like it was unraveling. David Bowie, Prince, Lemmy, Alan Rickman, Muhammad Ali, Carrie Fisher, one legend after another, falling like stars from the sky. And now, in 2025, those fears are stirring again. But maybe this time, we don't have to let that grief turn into dread. Because the truth is, legends don't vanish. They leave echoes in music, in memories, in the people they inspired. Ozzy gave the world a sound it didn't know it needed. Hulk gave us a hero to believe in. And whether you were a headbanger or a Hulkamaniac or both, their influence is part of who you are. So don't just scroll past their names. Talk about them, watch the old clips, crank the music, keep their legacies alive.
And if this week reminded you how fragile our icons are, maybe it's time to celebrate the ones still with us. Because the truth is, we never know who's next, but we can decide how we remember them. If this hit you hard, if you've ever screamed at a wrestling match or played Ozzy on full blast in your room, drop a comment, share your favorite moment, and keep this conversation going. Because legends never really die. They just tag out. And their stories? Those stay with us forever. If you enjoyed this video, then hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to What's News.